Snow and record-breaking cold. An early taste of winter in Kansas City. From your house to your car, what you can do to keep the cold out and your family safe without breaking the bank.
If Jeff Penner can do this, anybody can do this.
Plus, Gary Lezak's winter forecast. The 41 Action News Weather Team's special report. Weathering winter starts now.
Hello, I'm Chief Meteorologist Gary Lezak here with our 41 Action News Weather Team, Kaylee Dion, J.D. Rudd, and Jeff Penner, who will each be making their own snowfall predictions for the winter. Are you guys ready?
Of course, yes.
Yeah. All right, welcome to our special half-hour Weathering Winter. Here at 41 Action News, we are preparing you for the winter season ahead, one that's ready to bring all kinds of interesting weather. Did winter start early? It certainly seemed that way last month when Kansas City set a record low of 6 degrees on November 18th. And we had the longest November cold spell in Kansas City's weather history. 6 days in a row at or below freezing. That had never happened before. There was one small 1 to 3 inch snowfall near Maryville and another small one from Clinton that extended west across the border to Pleasanton, Kansas. A cold start to this developing weather pattern. This is likely a sign of things to come. Snow forecasting can sometimes be a dud. Here is J.D. Rudd.
And that's true. When it comes to snow forecasting, it's one of the hardest things we have to do, and we typically use a range to cover the snowfall. But what happens when that forecast suddenly changes or things didn't quite go the way we forecast? We take an inner look at that.
In order for this to make sense, we have to first establish the snow ratio. Typically, on average, for every 1 inch of water, you have about 10 inches of snow. Now, yes, that ratio can change, but for today's example, let's consider and think about 1 inch of water being equal to 10 inches of snow, known as the 10-to-1 ratio.
So with that in mind, let's consider the following setup here. Let's take a spring thunderstorm, for example. You'd have an area of some light rain, moderate rain, and heavier rain. If this one thundercell passes over an area, let's say we forecast there to be a ½ inch of rainfall, and after it moves through, here are the numbers that we get. 1/4 of an inch in Olathe, just around 1/3 of an inch or so in Tonganoxie, and about 3/4 of an inch in Kansas City. So on the give or take scale, we were close with a ½ inch of rainfall, but notice a little more in one area, a little less in another. If we take the exact same setup and let's say all things are equal in the atmosphere, but turn it over to a snow event, light snow, moderate snow, and heavier snow, pass that same system over the same area, and remembering our 10-to-1 snow ratio, guess how different that forecast would be. 2½ inches of snow in Olathe, 7½ in Kansas City, and about 3½ off to the west. So a huge difference. And if we were forecasting 5 inches of snow, there'd be some areas that picked up less and some that picked up more. So again, it's all about those finer areas, the heavier bands of snow. You put this on a bigger scale, you watch the system move through, those heavier bands would dictate where the heaviest snow falls. But let's say our forecast, we go 3 to 5 inches of snow, but the system does something funny. It takes a little bit different of a turn all of a sudden and goes more north and northeast, and it takes those heavier bands of snow with it, meaning the forecast now shifts in a very small window. So a lot of things to consider when it comes to forecasting snowfall.
So as you can see, placement of the overall storm system is a huge factor in terms of where the heaviest snow will fall, and keeping in mind our snow ratios, that is also a huge component to why a snow forecast can often change.
So again, just some of the ways that we look at when it comes to forecasting snow and the challenges that we face. Gary.
All right, thank you, J.D. Last month's record cold likely had your furnace working overtime.
Now, homeowners, do you sometimes think you've done everything you can to save money during the bitter cold months and still spending a ton on your utilities? Well, I have some easy steps to prevent money from slipping through the cracks. We're here in my kitchen, and we just had a record November cold air mass, and boy, when I was at home with my family, you could feel the air coming into the house. Not very efficient, so I called Barry Dicker of Decent Energy, and we're going to learn a few things today about not only where the trouble spots are, but a few easy things you can do to fix the problem.
That's right, Jeff. Many of the homes in the local area have more air leakage than they really should, and that produces energy waste. choice, both in heating season as well as cooling season. That means you're taking $20 bill after $20 bill out of your wallet and effectively burning it up.
Let's find the trouble spots. The first tool, a blower door. It will blow air out of the house, creating a vacuum, lowering the air pressure. This will then force the outside air to rush in, exposing the leaks. The second tool, a thermal imaging camera. This will show where the outside cold air is pouring into the house. Look at the dark blue to purple colors around the window. Clear indication of air leakage. Now, how to fix it. How about a $4 caulk gun? Did it make a difference? We checked the thermal image.
And you see that on the right side, where you'd been doing your work, it's a lot less.
Second, we headed down to my basement. We are going to remove the pink fiberglass and replace it with scrap foam board. This will not only reduce cold air entering into the house, but also helps keep those pesky spiders and rodents from getting in your home. To help this, I inserted the foam board and sealed the edges with spray foam. Last, but certainly not least, taping the gaps between the air ducts and joists. This was very easy and likely something most people do not realize is a significant issue. All right, so here we go. We did 3 easy things. I did them, and like we said, if Jeff Penner can do this, anybody can do this.
When the snow falls, it can build up on the roofs of homes and businesses. These are called ice dams. This happens when a poorly insulated roof or attic releases heat, which causes the ice and snow to melt off. It then refreezes along the edge of a gutter or a cold roof line. The good news, ice dams are completely preventable. After any storm, along with shoveling your driveway, it's important to take a few minutes to remove snow off of your roof line, especially the first 3 inches above the gutter.
Want the inside of your attic to be close to the exterior temperature. If you have a lot of heat sources getting above your insulation and your ceiling, it's going to cause more ice on your roof. So it's really important to have well-insulated areas in your attic.
Now, if an ice dam does build up, clear the gutter off as much as you can, at least 6 inches from the downspout or the corner of the roof. That will give the runoff a place to flow. Now, both MoDOT and KDOT spend a lot of time and money clearing our roads when it snows. 41 Traffic Now reporter Casey McDonald is here with the steps they take to keep you safe.
MoDOT, KDOT, you know them, you love them. Why? Because they clear all the snow out so you can get to where you're going every single winter. Now let's talk about what it takes for MoDOT to get you guys out on the road. $46 million estimated this year, 3,500 employees, 420 trucks, over 38,000 tons of salt. If you're heading out in Kansas, this is what it's going to take. Last year it took $22 million, 1,200 employees, and 200,000 tons of salt. That's what they've got this year alone. And with construction beginning and ending, those roads closing and reopening since the previous winter season, the crews have to be sure that they map out the exact routes to be as efficient and accurate as possible. All employees are required to take winter skills training courses, and every single piece of equipment that's going to be inspected. Every truck, every snow blower, every tractor. Now, for those of you who will have to get out and about, there's this cool tool created by KCK that will help you find which roads are clear, which ones have been plowed. You can find that at our website, KSHB.com. For 41 Traffic Now, I'm Casey McDonald.
Always remember, on snow days, we're sharing the road with plowed trucks. Getting rid of all that slush and snow on the roadways requires some heavy-duty equipment and some heavy-duty training. I actually got to drive one of these, and I'll tell you, it's not easy. Drivers actually can't see the plow from inside the truck. Can you believe that? So if you could park your car in the driveway, it makes the job much easier. Also, don't follow too closely behind. And here at 41 Action News, we've been getting dozens of questions about winter weather every day. So we're going to answer just some of them for you right now.
Yeah, we got a great response on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you so much for sending those in. One of them right here, Georgia White, has a great question.
Does the kind of fall we're having affect the type of winter we will have? Colder than usual, wetter or drier than normal? This is a really good question, Georgia.
Yeah, according to my theory, the LRC, the weather pattern sets up between October 1st and November 10th. So the pattern that we have been in is going to continue. But what does it mean for December, January, and February? We're sorting that out, and we have the answers for you here in our winter forecast in a few minutes. We have another question from Sharon Cole. Does hurricane season tell you how good or bad of a winter we will have?
You know, it's kind of like the question with the summer. Does a cool summer mean a really cold winter? It has nothing to do with each other at all. No correlation.
There was a super typhoon a few weeks ago that a lot of meteorologists thought caused the cold weather outbreak we just had. But in about 30 days, that cold weather is coming back, and there will not be a super typhoon or a hurricane. rain. So that right there is proof that hurricanes or typhoons do not influence the pattern as much as some people think.
Still have questions on the 40-day thing. Right. You're going to actually talk about that more coming up later on in the show, so you're not going to want to go anywhere. Exactly, and Jeff and JD answer a couple more questions here in a few minutes. Now, when snow falls, one of the first things families wonder about is whether or not school has been called off. Let's walk you through the process of how we do school closings. If a school district decides to cancel class, they will call our newsroom. Whoever is making that call has a code. That code allows us to know for 100% certainty that the district is calling us and it's not a prank call. The 41 Action News team then puts those closings on TV on our website, KSHB.com, as well as Facebook, and then you can find out. All right, wheels stuck spinning or the car won't start? It's a winter weather roadblock you can prevent. Kaylee Dion gets behind the wheel to show you how. Plus, caring for your furry friends in these cold months. What you can do to make sure your pet stays healthy and happy during the winter. When temperatures drop and the snow falls, pets can sometimes be neglected, but the Humane Society of Missouri wants to make sure you're caring for your pets properly in the cold. If your dog gets into the snow, use a towel to dry them off, and also clean and dry their paws to prevent cuts. Get that snow out of their paws. It really helps. Keep pets away from space heaters and other sources of heat to prevent burns. If your dog has short hair, consider a sweater or coat during the extreme cold, and it's also obviously very, very cute. Now let's talk with Jeff Penner and JD Rudd. They have a couple more questions, and thank you once again for sending these in. You can ask us during the winter if you ever have any questions on Twitter or Facebook. We're always there to answer, but let's go through a couple of these ones that came in.
First question here, Matthew Norris asked, each season it seems like we get a strong cold plunge in a 24 to 48 hour period, and then it never recovers after that. It never warms up. Well, last year, strong cold front hit on the 22nd. We had highs in the 20s for 3 days, and it was 60 degrees on December 3rd. Another example on December 10th, or 2010, December 12th, it was 18 for a high. On the 13th, it was 21, and on December 30th, it was 68. So the answer is you get the cold blast, and then it also warms up.
JD? Ups and downs for sure. Another question that we had was from Porterhausen 77 asked, estimated days of school cancellations. How many do you think we'll get? Well, that's tough for us to say.
10. They want 10.
Sure, 10. We can guess all we want, but we don't set the rules for cancellation of school. It's up to those superintendents and things like that. So you spin the big wheel here. It's really like playing the weather lottery. It could be any variety of school days depending upon when that snow happens to fall, which could be on any day of the week.
Right, but if it falls on a Saturday,
you don't get a school day or snow day.
Exactly. Or during the holidays, but they'll probably get 2 or 3 kids, probably 2 or 3, but we'll talk about that in our winter forecast coming up here in a second. Now here's one more question from Trina. She asks, what essentials should I have with me in my vehicle should I get stuck on the road? And that is a great question, and Kaylee Dion has the answer for all the things we need to keep in our car.
You always think it's not going to happen to me, but if it does, you should be ready. So we've got you covered with all the things you must do to get through this winter on the roads. Have you ever done the basic checks on your car for the cold? The cold is already here, and it leads to big stress on our cars that can leave us stuck.
How much tread do you have left on your tires? Are they properly inflated? Rear-wheel drive cars, think about snow tires. You know, even all-wheel drive cars, if the tire's not thick, you know, you still may get out there and slip and slide around.
There are simple and free investments you can make to help if you need it. Your car mats. These will always help with traction in a pinch. Also, these all-in-one devices that can help with everything from a quick jump start to filling a low tire to simply recharging your phone.
Have the battery load tested, and probably as important, check the age of the battery. Should be a date stamped in the side of the battery. So wherever you take it, have it tested, should be able to also look and see what the age is. Average lifespan on a battery today, 3-4 years.
And for you, while you're in your car, the Huffington Post came out with a list of cold gear gadgets. Check it out. It's a heated steering wheel cover. So it goes over your cover, helps keep your hands warm. And these, come over here. This is awesome. These are heated hand warmers. And they look like little heated toast, guys. And they plug into your USB cord, and it keeps your fingers nice and toasty if you get stranded. Finally, throw some ice melter, bottled water, blankets, and even an extra coat to be ready, just in case. You never know when you might be the one who gets stuck.
All right, we have crunched all the numbers, looked at all the data available to us up to this point. How much snow will fall this winter? My winter forecast using the LRC is next. It's time for our winter forecast. All right, what is going to happen this winter? How much snow is going to fall? We use this fascinating thing called the LRC, the cycling weather pattern. Let's take a look.
We want a snow day. We want a snow day.
Snow, but enough to close school? The kids at Overland Trail Elementary are hoping for a few snow days. We use a new technology to help make this winter forecast, and 41 Action News meteorologist Jeff Penner has been using this for years.
We have the best forecasting tool in the field of meteorology today. It's called Lezak's Recurring Cycle, the LRC. I've experienced it and used it for over 20 years now, and take it from me, it works.
The LRC is the centerpiece of this big weather puzzle. There is organization to the chaos in the atmosphere, and our weather team has figured this out. Last year, we made the only accurate weather forecast for the Super Bowl outside in East Rutherford, New Jersey. This forecast was made 4 weeks before the big game, and we called for temperatures to warm into the 50s with no chance of snow. It was a perfect long-range weather forecast. There have been other successes, big successes. Here's our accuracy check. Last winter, we forecasted 24 inches of snow, 26 inches fell. We forecasted the dates where 5 winter storms would hit Kansas City weeks before they happened. 4 out of the 5 verified. Last summer, we forecasted no major heat waves. There wasn't one. Let's look at the pieces of this year's big weather puzzle. One influence will likely be the Arctic oscillation. It already has dipped into the negative, leading to our record-breaking November cold. And this will return a few times this winter and may help energize winter storms. But will they hit Kansas City?
The AO is part of the winter forecast formula. Another influence is El Nino. The water over the tropical Pacific Ocean has been warming in recent weeks, and it does now look like it will be an El Nino winter, and this will lead to the splitting of the jet stream, with storm systems possibly stronger in the southern branch of the jet. This may happen 2 or 3 times this winter, but overall, Kansas City is not in the right spot, and most of these storm systems will miss our area.
Last winter was brutally cold, and we are not expecting as harsh of a winter this year. Kansas City's 100-year average annual snowfall is close to 20 inches. In the past 5 years, Kansas City has averaged 28 inches of snow, with 44 inches accumulating in the winter of 2009-2010, and only 3.9 inches of snow 3 years ago. As you may know, the past few winters have been very different, and we have seen a variety of conditions. I remember being able to walk my dogs down the street because the sidewalks were closed with piles of snow on either side, higher than stormy and breezy. We are forecasting a milder winter around Kansas City this year, with the cold spells balanced by the warm spells. With fewer storm systems, our snowfall totals will likely end up below average this winter. 26 inches of snow fell in KC a year ago, but this year we can expect quite a bit less. I am forecasting 17 inches of snow between now and April, so you can expect a decreased chance for snow days. Sorry, kids and some teachers, but on the upside, whatever outdoor activity you like, you may have more opportunities to enjoy.
Coming up, our weather team weighs in on their snowfall predictions. Throughout the winter season, we want to see your weather pictures. You can email them to us at myreport@kshb.com or tweet us your pictures at 41 Action News. You never know, we actually may show them on the air. We do that. Now, our weather team is here. You've seen my winter forecast, my prediction. We'll go over that again and some analysis. But tell us what you guys are seeing, what you guys think. Kaylee, let's start with you.
All right, well, I picked on the high side, 25 inches total for the year, which is above average by a few inches, not much, because I think if we can get in the right spot in some of these storms coming off the Pacific, that we could get 25 inches of snow. So
I know there's always a chance you can get that much in one storm, so
right?
It can be fascinating. Let's go to our next one, which would be J.D. Rudd.
I think we're going to be in this setup of the cold and the snowy periods. I think the cold might be the biggest thing that's going to get us. We've seen that already this season, so kind of almost, if you look at the country, like a percent sign. Warm air in the west, cold air for us. Snow-wise, I'm going to go a little bit lower. Last year I was overzealous, didn't get anywhere close to that, so this year I'll be conservative, and I'm going to say about 19 inches of snowfall.
19
is a little below average.
You know, the first ingredient is cold, and we do think it's going to be cold.
Plenty of cold.
At times of season. Jeff Penner, what are your thoughts?
Well, I use the LRC, and we do think, you know, there's going to be some cold stretches, and in those cold stretches that last about 10 days, we're going to get some snow in those, and then we do have to watch these storms that come in off the Pacific. Could they also bring snow? So I'm in between Kaylee and JD at 22 inches of snow for this winter. Could be higher if one of these bigger storms, we get a combination of a storm from the Pacific and the cold air from the north, and so that's where we are, a little bit less than last year. That's my feeling.
And you know, guys, you saw my forecast in the winter special here coming up just a few minutes ago. I went with 17 inches. I just have concerns. As I said, 25 can fall. Our biggest snowstorm was 25 inches. That could happen in March if it all came together. But we see it as a big challenge this year to get organized storms. Haven't we all seen this? It's been a struggle so far, but we still will have enough cold, enough storm systems to get about 4 or 5 accumulations that could add up to my lower total of 17 inches. So, do you know what our average is?
That's quick math,
yeah,
man.
that
That's
is.
on the fly.
You're putting me on the spot.
17, 19, 22, 25, 20.75.
There you go.
20.75.
Which is about average for Kansas City.
That's about average. So that's our weather team's average. All right, there's our forecast. We'll be watching it for you. Thank you so much for joining us for our special report, Weathering Winter. We look forward to bringing you the best and most accurate weather information all winter long. And for my weather team, have a great night.